Hello, hello, hello. Hi, it's me, Lisa. I wanted to share with you some color theory play that I like to do when I am playing with watercolor and designing cards and wanting to just like really get to know my pigments. So I'll do this, and I'm shaking up my my shimmer watercolor, so I have the option of having shimmer watercolor. Anyways. Color theory is so important with watercolor. I had like two people ask me within like what seems like hours of each other, do you use color theory with watercolor? And I say, oh, absolutely I do. And so I thought I would kind of give you an idea of what I do when I play with watercolor, when I'm learning I have so many different pigments now, and I just like to get to know them, because the more you know your medium, the more you can like push yourself to try new things. So I have my liquid watercolor out in like rainbow order, right? RGB rainbow order, and I'm going to start with like purple. I'm using the Waffle Flower Mixed Media Mat, and I really like that. And this is my color journal. I have different colors that I've made or that I've created or I've played with, just to see kind of how it works. And you can tell that they're just, I mean, it's all over the place, but you know, I don't know what's going to work until I play with it. So I love this page. This is probably like my brightest, like it just reminds me of beautiful things. And anyways, but I have a color journal and I like to write in it and play with my colors. Because that's the only way you're going to really learn how to, in my opinion, one way to learn how to play with, to really utilize your colors the best way you can. So I'm going to go ahead and get my brushes wet so they're ready to go. I'm just using a Quil Princeton Neptune brush. That's one of my favorites. Especially with the liquid watercolor. And I'll show you guys a couple of fun ways to play with your colors. To start with, I'm going to go with, we'll go with Guava. And this is a bright, almost, I would call this like a cadmium red. So it's a warm red. And then Lollipop is like alizarin. It reminds me of a cool red. And then I'll go with some orange. And we'll start. The nice thing that I like about these watercolors is that with watercolor in general, you have a bunch of different, I like having a split primary palette, meaning I have a warm and a cool yellow, I have a warm and a cool red. So a warm and a cool red, a warm and a cool yellow, and then a warm and a cool blue. This one is the cool blue, this is the warm blue. And then within those, I have my secondary colors, my orange, my greens, and because I love green, and purples, I have two different colors, hues to play with. But I'm going to start with, I always like to start with, when we're dealing with the color wheel, and I'm going to hopefully make a color wheel for you guys to see kind of the difference. And I don't remember the purples. I don't remember which one is warmer or cooler, because this purple, there's definitely a warmer and a cooler part to it. This is like scrap paper. I'm just going to find out. This is the Plum Punch, I think. Jelly Donut, maybe. Isn't that a beautiful purple? And then this is, okay. So this is the Plum Punch. The Plum Punch is very vibrant. Yeah, the Plum Punch to me has a bit more of a warmer tone to it. So I would say that that's a warm purple. And this is a much cooler purple, and I can tell right away. So there's that. So when you set up your split primary, I like to start with purple at the bottom, and then that way I know kind of where I'm starting. And then so that's the cool purple. This is the warm, and I want my warm to be on this side. Oh, you cannot see. So I have my two purples, and I will blend them together. Why not? I can do that. All right, and then what comes, then I can make my reds. And so I will do my cool red right here because we're on the cool side. And see how that just blends really nice into that purple. Isn't that fun? But if I do this, when I make a cool red and a neutral, or a cool and a warm red, and I mix them together, you're going to get a neutral color. So it's going to be a neutral-ish red. And it's really more pink, but that's okay. And now I can go into my, so and you don't have to do this, but it is fun to kind of see this whole color wheel. And I don't know if I'll make a complete circle or if it'll be more like a rainbow, but we'll get there. So then if that's my cool and my warm red, I'm going to go with my warm yellow. And my warm yellow is this one. And this is the, should be the pineapple. And I'm going to make that orange a little bit. Kind of see that. And then I'm going to go in with my other yellow right here. Whew, isn't that right? Isn't that fun? Okay. Now I can go into my greens, or I actually will just do my Cookie Monster right here next to the yellow. And this is not at all a real circle, but I like playing around with how to blend. Like if I should be like more like right here, but that's okay. Look at that yellow with that blue. Isn't that pretty? You can really see. I'll add some more of that yellow. That needs to be here, and this can go right here. That way you can see that beautiful green that I got. That is perfect. And then the blue corn is my warm blue. And then I'm back at purple again. But again, when I mix the two blues together, I should be getting a neutral. But the darker blue is a little bit more overpowering, which is to be expected because of I wanted to really see that true color. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Now we can go back, and because this is the warm blue, I can go back in with my warm purple, and I'll get a really pretty gradient mix between the two. And so that's really kind of that's really fun with color theory. I mean, you can get a wide range of different colors just by knowing color theory. So why play with this, right? Well, here, this is why I know blending is so popular right now with blending brushes and stenciling, and I have fun blending colors together, mixing colors together. So then we know that red and green are complementary colors, right? So complementary colors, meaning if you put them next to each other, there's the guava. And I'll do lime zest. If we put them next to each other, it's going to look brown. It pops, but there's also that brown look to it, and it's not as vibrant as it could be. Now, that's great if you're doing landscapes or whatever, because you get that pop of color with the neutral colors, but that's not really what I'm going for, right? And you can tell that the green by itself is really vibrant, but when you put it next to the red, it turns brown. So maybe that's not what we want for our vibrant cards. What we want is to have a buffer. So I'm going to take this very much, this is a warm green and with watercolor. I'm going to take the guava that I had. I'm going to spread that on my page. Get a little bit more. I feel like that was not a very vibrant. And this is the visual journal from Strathmore, watercolor journal. I've had it for a little while. And then I'm going to take this. This is the lemon yellow. And I'm going to put that right next to it. I'm just going to kind of make this yellow a buffer for the red. Then what I can do is, because I really want the red and the green to pop, then I can go back in and add the green right to almost where all the yellow is. And because I really want my green to pop, I'm just going to add some dots right there. And so there you go. You have this beautiful, it's not going to get into the red. And if it is, it's not going to make that, it's not going to dirty the green up a little bit. You can kind of see it's really wet. But so, yeah. And it's just playing with the different colors and really having fun with the pigments. So that's one way to play with the colors. If I were to just, when I'm learning or just playing around with my colors, what I like to do is I'll take a piece of, this is just Canson 140-pound watercolor paper. It's a scrap from when I cut down my cards. I always have the strip left over for whatever reason. So I like to play with these strips and find some fun things to do. I'm going to use the colors that I already have out, and then we'll do a couple more experiments with color. But what I like to do is I like to make circles. It's very soothing for me. It really makes me just, I don't know, happy. And I'm going to start lightest to dark. So I'm going to start with my lighter pigments, and I haven't played too much with Lollipop. So let's try this. So I'm going to just push my brush down, and I'm going to make a circle. And I want it to be very loose and fluid, like the water is moving, you see. And then I'm going to take, maybe I want some Cookie Monster. I'm going to do the same thing. And I want to see how the two pigments react. And it looks like I need a little bit more. And because I can, I'm just going to dot that right in there and see what happens. And why not with guava? If you have good watercolor paper, your watercolor paper is going to take it. It might take a little bit longer to dry, but it will. These are just fun ways to play with your watercolor. Even if you have had liquid watercolor and you haven't used it much, this is a fun way to just play with it. Now, I'm going to let that kind of fall into each other. I'm going to give it somewhere to go. And who knows, I think the guava is definitely overpowering, but that's okay because I have my corn blue that I'm going to add right here and right here. And because I still have blue on my brush, I'm going to go right there and right there. And I'm just playing with the pigment and my brush. I'm not thinking about anything else. All right, since we have this blue and purple red thing going on, I'm going to go ahead and use Lollipop, and I'm going to do the same thing like I did over there. I'm just going to fill it in and see kind of how it bleeds together. Loose and fluid is the name of the game. I really like that. And now let's go in with some other purple after, like this is really fun. And I'm just going to dot in some purple. I don't know if I need to really do much to it. And then what I can do with this panel is then I can find what I like maybe there's a spot that I really like, and I can put a sentiment, or I can make these into flowers, or I can doodle on them, because I think this would be a really fun doodle. Yeah, and if you see a big puddle like that, like I just like to almost, yeah. I can use my brush as a way to soak it up too, if I wanted to. Yeah, isn't that pretty? That's going to be really pretty. I don't necessarily care for this side, but this side is really fun. So why don't we add some sparkle to it, just to add to the prettiness of it. And I'm hoping I can just like splatter it on, but it's not splattering. So I will put it on my mixed media mat right there. You can kind of see. And take it up, and then I'm going to splatter. And then I got this really pretty watercolor panel that is really going to be a fun thing to stamp on. So I'm going to let that dry. Maybe you don't want to be so messy, or maybe you are thinking that's not for me. That's okay. I will find a different, let me show you some other fun ways I like to look. Okay. I don't know why I don't just have like tons of these rags around. Let's do another one. This one already has purple on it, and that's okay because it's a scrap. And I'm going to use, let's do, I haven't done orange yet. This one is a fun, I'm actually going to tear this in half so I can just automatically have 2 card panels right away. And to tear watercolor paper, I like to fold it in half and then hold it and just rip just like that. There we go. Okay. So we know that, trying to decide which paper, what side I want to use. I'm going to go ahead and just make a line of orange right down here. I don't know. I gotta play. It's a fun way to play. And sometimes I like to think of a landscape in my mind, or something. It doesn't have to be a landscape. It could be whatever you want. And then let's do some yellow. The yellow isn't going to be as bright because the orange is definitely more bossy than the yellow. And I don't have as much on my brush, but that's okay. And then I'll just let it kind of run. And I really like this kind of art, especially with some music, jazz music, or I don't know, something to just calm my nerves. And I'll do this all the time when I need to de-stress. I suppose a stay-at-home mom has a lot of things to be stressed out about, right? Or so it seems. I don't know. Seems like I always have something to think about. And then I just put guava down because I really like the red with the guava. And I want this red to be kind of like a buffer almost. Because what I really want is to play with my purple. Because I love some purple. But I don't want the purple to get in with the red. But I also don't want the purple to like... or I want the purple to mix with the red, because I know that red and purple mix well together. Purple and orange on the color wheel are complementary colors, which, if you remember, that means that we get a neutral, which is perfect if you're doing landscapes, but not so perfect if you're doing vibrant cards and you want that beautiful look. And because I can, I'm going to I can always add more pigment, but I cannot take away pigment with watercolor. And you guys know that. I am going to add some of this corn blue. And I think I'm going to stab it kind of here and there. And I could do this all day long. This is why I don't clean my house, is because it's so much fun to just look at it run and play. And I almost feel like this could be like a sea or a beach scene or something. I don't know. I really like the two colors together, but I feel like the orange is missing some like a pop, and I'm thinking it's because I have this guava right here and then it just goes away. So I'm going to add some more of this guava to the orange, and I think that will help solidify the orange and make it look really pretty. Anyways, this will be a fun background to stamp on. I like to use background stamps with these color play panels, and I like to be able to I think I may have. I'll even go back in and do like another paint on top of this, so then it's even more vibrant. But I really like this. I don't know if I would change it much. I'm just going to let it be and let it go. Okay, so some other ideas. Let's use that other card panel. This is actually a color experiment that Lisa Cognin does, and she's a fine artist, illustrator. She's amazing. I love her colors. I love how she uses her colors, all of it. And so what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to go a little bit crazy. I'm going to do this orange, this pink, this yellow, and this purple. So 4 colors. All 3 of these are close to the color wheel, and then I have this one that is not. So let's see what happens. And I'm going to do purple first. And this is the jelly donut, and I actually have some on my palette, and I don't think it's going to matter for this one. So I have more of the plum punch. So I'm going to go ahead and just use plum punch. It's not like the color is still going to look amazing. So I'm just going to put some. This is like my favorite thing I do with my kids, and when I just need to add some color to my life, I do this. And it's January in the Midwest, and I don't know, who knows, but a lot of people have to have like vitamin D supplements, and I'm one of them, because it's in this winter, because it is just nasty. We don't get to see the sun like hardly ever, and we're all going a little bit crazy by January because we haven't seen the sun for what seems like weeks and months, but we know that that's not completely true. Okay. Now I know that this lollipop will mix well with the purple, but I don't want a whole lot. I really want a lot of oranges and yellows. So we'll see what happens. So I'm just going to kind of add this next to the purple, but I'm not going completely. I'm staggering my lines. It's totally just wherever I feel like it. And this is a fun color meditation. I'm sure Lisa Solomon, who is also a fine artist, illustrator, does this. And she has a good book called The Field Guide to Color. And she also has a wonderful class on creative bug that I like. And because I think it needs something right there, I'm going to let that be. Let it go. Now I'm going to add my lemon meringue and see. I'm hoping, I'm very hopeful that I don't get a whole bunch of like browns, because I know that yellow and purple will make brown. So I am going to be very, very careful where I put my yellows, because I don't want my yellow to overpower. And I want to be very sparingly with my yellows, because I really like the orange and the purples together. And this is just a fun way to spend a morning or afternoon, is just playing with your pigments and lines. And I know that there's some like wet watercolor, so I'm going to go ahead and just see what happens when I add that with a little bit more yellow. Yeah, I like that. And I'll go all the way down there. All right, now I can play with my orange. And then I just go back and forth, and I already have orange on my palette, so I'm not gonna do that again. But now I can add my really fun orange, which is really what I wanted. I wanted the orange and purple to just be the star of the show. I'm gonna clean my brush off a little bit, add some more orange to my palette. And then this is a really fun background to play with. I like to use like a star background. It really makes for, and I already did a tutorial with using the star background and using this kind of the same color theory. So if it's a repeat, well, it's because it works, and I can see kind of, oh, this orange and the purple together really complement each other, and it doesn't like turn into a neutral as much as I thought. I'm going to go ahead and go all the way down there. I'm almost feeling like it needs more lollipop. So I'm going to stop with the orange and go with more lollipop. Kind of wherever. And then having variations. Isn't this pretty? Oh, right there is so pretty. You can always glaze over some and get a different tone that way. Super fun. All right, now I'm going to go back to my orange. Nope, I'm going with my purple. I'm going to make some of my purples a little bit darker. I could do this all day, you guys. And what a fun way to just brighten up your whole day. That is looking really cool. Now there's still white spaces, so I think what I'll do is I'll add more of that yellow, because most of the yellow I feel like is just about gone. And yellow is like my one color that unifies what I like to say, everything. I don't know if that's just me. I mean, I do that with green too. I'll unify all my paintings with a green tone just to give it kind of a finished look. But because we're going for bright, and I need the brightness in my life. Now I am cleaning my brush a lot because I just got into the purple and I want my yellows to be as vibrant as possible. So I am cleaning my brush off a lot. I still see a little bit of white, but I think I'm going to go back into orange. I'm just going to put orange down right here. You know, I'm okay that this looks like a kid did it, because a kid could do this and have a ton of fun doing this on the way. Yeah, I do this during the summer too when my kids are swimming, and I want to paint and I want to play with my colors, but I don't really want to pay attention to what I'm doing because I have to pay attention to my kids, and usually they're swimming or outside. So this is like a good color meditation to do with that too. Now what I could do is I'm going to take a little bit of this shimmer and I will add it to a couple of those brush strokes. I don't want to add all like shimmer to all the brush strokes because I think that will take away from the card. But I can do a couple, and I almost think just a nice sentiment, because we spent, I don't know, 5-10 minutes on this. A nice sentiment right down here or up or wherever will make for a really fun card. And maybe it's just as simple as thinking of you and it's super bright. I don't know. I'd love to get your opinions. I'd love to see what you think. But that's another fun way to do color theory. I really like this. This is going to look beautiful. I can't wait to show you guys. But that is just a piece of work, a piece of artwork that I just love. because I can and I can't stop once I start. Let me show you. This is another a scrap piece of watercolor. And I have a small one too right here. We'll use that one first. Nope, I'll use the bigger one. Oh, I fold it in half again. And I don't know if you guys, I don't know who follows watercolor artists, but I will also doodle florals and or like floral shapes. So maybe I want this one to be a, I don't know, a blue flower of some sort. I don't know. It can be whatever you want it to be. I'll do one over here too. And I like to just practice making leaves, and then maybe I want to just dot in some really pretty purpley floral, I don't know, purpley stuff. Maybe these are violets, iris, it doesn't matter. And maybe I want to go with my lollipop and add another floral and get my brush wet a little bit more and get this like really pretty bloom going on. And this is another way I like to play with color and shapes. This really works for both. And then I'm gonna maybe just add a little bit like this. So it does look like, and if you want to know kind of how I've paint like this, Jeannie Rainey has a great YouTube channel. And then I'm going to just add, that's the lemon zest. No, sorry, lime zest. Lime zest. And I need a little bit more. I really like this green. And I go light to dark, although I didn't with the flowers, but that's okay. And if you want to know like more about brushwork, brush handling, I recommend Gina Rainey, and then also The Spirit of the Brush is a good one. Yeah. All right, and now I'm going to go in with this spearmint color. I really like this one. And I'm actually going to add it next to my lime zest because it's green. I'm not particular, but I'm still using lime zest, by the way. I'm not over that yet. Yeah, I kind of like that. I'm gonna, things are always lighter at the top. And it seems like maybe this is just a little, who knows what this is? I don't know. It can be whatever you want it to be. Some kind of floral bouquet motif thing. But here is the darker blue and the spearmint, and when you add it to the lime zest, it just makes my heart happy. It gives it a really pretty natural color green. It's not so in your face neon green, and I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just lime zest is very much not a natural color. It's very vibrant, but it's not something you would necessarily see in nature. And every time you can mix up your greens a little bit, you're gonna look like a professional artist because you're not going off of just your premix. All right, and then with the blue, I like the blue, but I think I can add just a little bit more of the purple to give it a different look. I'm running out of purple, but that's okay. So anyways, I'm not repainting it. I'm just using my brush strokes to help guide me. But there you go. I mean, it's just a lot of playing and playfulness. And if I wanted to, I could make this whole bloom much bigger. So let's do that. Why not? I like to play. And So I just am adding a little bit more lollipop, a little bit more guava. And these are fun because you can really get some fun. You can just paint, play with color. I'm using the whole end of my brush. This is a liner. So it's 6 liners. So usually when you think of watercolor liners, you think that they're really thin, and they can be. There's nothing wrong with that. But I like the liners for bigger brushes because you get this long, you can really just get the water to move off your brush a little bit more. And with watercolor, water is your best friend. So this is my center, and I'm trying to work my petals from the center out. I think that makes sense, right? And I know it. All right. I think this is a very loose and fluid floral that will look very interesting once it's done. And then I can just add some leaves. I'll just make that one big leaf. Why not? I feel like peonies and chrysanthemums have like their leaves are as big as their like there's more greenery than the actual flower. And we're taking artistic license anyways. But now I'm getting into more than what I thought I was going to in this lesson, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and just add some more of that pea pod. Now I'm using 3 different types of greens, which is perfect. And I'm going to add some of that spearmint to get that variation. I'm just going to add this is spearmint onto lime zest. I'm just letting that kind of mix on the paper. I always like to mix my pigments on the paper. It gives it a much more natural look. Here's my, and I don't necessarily want to cover the whole picture with green. There, that works. And then maybe I want to go back in and just kind of, yeah, I really like that. It's a very loose floral, and all I did was just add some lines and colors, and I got this really pretty floral motif going on. Now, if I wanted, I can clean up my edges a little bit, maybe right here. I don't want to lose the freshness. Isn't that pretty? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I think that's, I don't really like the brush. I want it to look very fluid. Loose and fluid is the name of this game. There we go. All right, so we got some color theory going on. We got the pinks and the greens, which work as complementary colors. That's why the painting looks very vivid. We have the natural looking colors after applying the bright, vibrant, getting more of a natural color. And then I have my really fun, this is probably my favorite. Yeah, and it's still wet, it's still drying. That shimmer is super shimmery. You can see how shimmery that is. So anyways, very artistic. I like it. If you like this kind of style, this is what I do. It's so much fun. I have so much fun playing around. Oh my gosh, it's great. Anyways, love to have you guys subscribe to my channel, and I hope you guys have a wonderful time painting and playing with color. That's what it's all about.